Good morning and welcome to our Sunday service with the Universalist Unitarian Church of Farmington. Today is March 22nd and we're going to start today with Michael Murphy singing some spirit music from us, honoring the medieval mystic from the 1300s, Julian of Norwich. This calls us to the season of spring for 2020. Mark Bellatini shares these words for our chalice lighting. Let the difficulties of the week take their Sabbath now, their brief and simple rest. Let the worries of the week lay their heft gently upon the dark spring earth, below this tiled and carpeted floor, which can bear them with greater ease than any one of us can do by ourselves. Let the tangle of feelings, the pull and the push of these last 7 days sit still for a minute. Stop writhing in your heart and move no more than a Buddha at rest under a Bodhi tree. Let there be stillness in my heart for a moment, the balancing point between breathing in and breathing out, like the pause of a dancer between movements in the music. Let the breathing in our rooms shared together be free and flowing. Let the pulses trance a slower rhythm in the wrist. Let the coming silence be like hands pulling back a curtain, revealing our tables set with the feast of life, which is the present in the here and now, and has been the whole while, present to those who give up living in either the past and the future, just live in the now. We light our chalice to draw together all those in our virtual community that are joining in our live stream service this morning, or have the benefit of checking out our service anytime during the upcoming week. So what I'd like to start with this morning is some virtual joys and concerns that I have heard about. And one of the joys that has been shared, I think, with our church community as they have been invited to stay home so that we don't infect each other with the COVID number 19, is the creativity that people have shown in how they connect. And we have some special announcements today. And I'm going to use a little bit of my magic mirror that was from Romper Room, if you remember. And so I want to wish Bud Baggett a very happy 90th birthday. And Charlotte DiGiorgio has chosen to celebrate another 39th birthday. And we know from phone calls and check-ins that all our elders are okay. And all our youngers have been very busy keeping each other occupied. Those that have already been homeschooled have been able to help direct us in additional activities for the children, time outs and time for learnings, and time for singing and dancing and cooking together and going for walks outside. And so for a moment, if you would just close your eyes and think of the joy or concern that you would express if we were together, because we are together non-locally. And like prayer that is non-local, we can think our thoughts of joys and concerns at this moment, and they become part of our collective consciousness in this community. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. Our service today starts with inviting you to remember the popular artist, Mary Engelbreit. She used brightly colored art to bring to life daily sayings that moved us to think about spirituality in everyday life. She brought forward sayings like, "Life is just a bowl of cherries," and "Bloom where you're planted." Today we have stepped into a new way of living, and life is a bowl full of new experiences. It pushes us to rethink how we bloom where we are planted. Friendship is the key to opening up the church. And I remember way back in the 80s, when I was a member of the Birmingham Unitarian Church, my best friend Melanie and I would stand together and we would open our hymnals when directed to sing the daily hymn that was chosen. And sometimes, as all of you have experienced, the hymn was easy and just in the right key, and we sounded like a choir of angels. And then there were those other days when the notes would go to the too extreme high or the too extreme low, or the words were more than joyful. And Melanie and I would just sit and giggle as if we were 12-year-old girls misbehaving in church. That friendship sustained us for many years. When we look at friendship and the idea that we're going to present today, which is fierce tenderness, our friend Mary Hunt says that friendship with the divine is actually inspired by human friendship and vice versa. Historically, the Christian tradition began with the disciples and the members of the Jesus movement, who were, if nothing else, friends seeking ways to express their faith in a hostile environment. It continues and moves into groups of justice-seeking friends who unite to overturn unjust rulers or to conduct political refugees to sanctuary, for example. The most current example is this COVID virus that has changed our lives and has moved so quickly to bring us all together in ways that we would never have imagined. And so when we think about friendship, not just limited to Christian communities, how do we look at secular political groups and other people of faith traditions and what kind of work they do to become justice-seeking friends who unite in unlikely coalitions? That is what Mary Hunt means by church. And so these friends, if you will, become a discipleship of equals. This COVID virus is giving us such an amazing example of how we have all become equal, because the lines between each group of people, no matter how much money you make, whether you have a job, what color you are, whether you're a vegan or whether you're a coffee drinker or not, or whatever religion you are, we have all become one because this COVID virus knows no boundaries. And so how do we use friendship then as a guided metaphor to get to the point of understanding that we have this remarkable image and experience and resource that we can turn to? One of the reasons many of you have chosen a UU church, Unitarian Universalist church, is so that you can find out justice-seeking upgrades with mutual relationships working with one another. In other words, you want to do social justice, and you just want ideas and conduits as to how you can do that most easily. You want to strengthen the breadth of the impact of you blooming where you are planted. So how do you multiply that image of your bloom connecting with others? Mary E. Hunt has described friendship as a model of relationship that can be securely felt and create a foundation of equality. We work together in a larger community. They have coined the description of fierce tenderness to describe a call for all of us. Fierce tenderness takes place in a passionate and a driven way that moves us towards perseverance and strength. It takes on as we continue to do the work that is needed to resist that which is off kilter as we work for change. Again, the COVID virus, we don't want to thank it, but we want to use it to motivate us towards a place of change. So this term, fierce tenderness, think of your deepest long-standing relationships. The Spanish translation, La Turner Feroz, with tenderness coming first, although it does have a somewhat different quality. And so sometimes you can say tender fierceness. And so what is that kind of passion put into your mind? In personal relationships, there will be a vulnerability of surprising somebody with a gift unseen, the embarrassment of being vulnerable, the need to let go of often visits to those occasional visits, when a friend's move is inevitable. All those bring out a level of fierce tenderness. This week I was so excited, for example, speaking of gifts and surprising people. I thought that I should buy my grandson some candy for Easter. And so I did buy a very nice piece of candy for Easter. And then I had to confess on the phone to him, because he lives 2 hours away, that the candy isn't here any longer. And he knew exactly what had happened to it. So I went and bought 6 more, and I hoped that whenever I got stressed that I wouldn't turn to eating them. And surprise upon surprise, I had the perfect box that fit 6 pieces of candy, And we took it to the post office and mailed it safely out of the house and moved it toward where it belonged, his address, and safely on his front porch. Ellen Goodman, a popular columnist, had a similar thought when she wrote about the gifts that we give one another for Valentine's Day. Sometimes we say that there is no expression that we need to have on such commercial holidays. And sometimes, even though we say that, we mean something else. What is the common denominator in any gift? The common denominator in any gift is the attention of what we draw towards each other and the attention that we think about when we are preparing the gift, shopping for the gift, giving that intention. And so that's what a fierce friendship is about. It's the intensity of the attention. And so this week we've had to change how we express our fierce tenderness with those people that we love. We can't do it in person. So how else can you do it? Remember the old-fashioned letter? Few of us have gotten to that point yet because our FaceTime on Facebook has gone up incrementally. Remember taking the time for a phone call? Yes, this week we have taken that time. In the political work for fierce tenderness, the passion and the drive and the perseverance continues in a different way. Most of you have experienced that side-by-side work for the greater good and cause, and knows what it takes for both strength and humility and compassion to accomplish any changes that can take months, years, and decades, and sometimes an entire lifetime. I have a friend that lives across the street that is in her 90s, and she is an amazing gardener. May Sarton's words from an observation, that she called it, speaks to those gardeners. True gardeners cannot bear a glove between the sure touch and the tender root. They must let their hands grow knotted as they move with rough sensitivity around and under the earth, between the rock and the shoot, never to bruise or wound the hidden fruit. And so I watched my mother's hands grow scarred. She who could heal the wounded plant or a wounded friend with the same vulnerable yet vigorous love. I am reminded once I see her beauty of the gnarled hands, but now her truth is given to me in life. Stay sensitive up to the end and pay attention with the toughness for a gentler world. That is who each of you are. You are the tough people that are strong, and you're going to create a gentler world. We don't know how long this virus is going to keep us in a quarantine, but we can redefine the quarantine. We can redefine the quarantine in simple rituals of how we connect with each other. We can get creative. We can get very creative, and I'm going to give you a little bit behind the scenes right now. Some of you that are very astute might notice that the pulpit is moving in strange and mysterious ways. Well, we decided to borrow our cat's kitty cat tree, and she is actually a part of the service because she wants to reclaim her tree. And here is the amazing Misty. Amazing Misty has wondered why we've been staying home all week, getting in her space, when all she wants is a nap and some food. And Misty also blooms where you're planted. And how does she do that? By making adjustments. Each of us have had to do that. How do you bloom where you're planted? How do you use discipline to make right choices? And also remove all guilt from whatever your choices might be. Sometimes we find ourselves being planted in places we didn't expect. All of us are in a new place that we didn't expect. Friendship is available to each and every one of you, but the challenge is going to be how fierce you can be with that friendship, how fierce you can be in your tenderness, how patient you will be with your children, when you will rotate and take breaks, when you will be silent, when you will be active, when you will clean, when you will rest, when you will sing, and when you will dance. Some of you remember the poem that I wrote last week. I will post it up on Facebook again. But in my opinion, the COVID virus has already taught me something. Those people that freak out, they're going to freak out. The people that are optimistic are going to be optimistic. The people that are pessimistic are going to be pessimistic. And those that are going to dance are going to dance or sing or be artistic or spend time with their four-leggeds. Your response tells a lot about who you are, even in this crisis that we are all in together. Friendship is available to everyone. I have a great friend who lives all the way in Colorado now. And one of the rituals that we have participated in is sending photographs of the orchid that we both have that is in full bloom. Each of us have had an orchid for over a year. These are very fragile to take care of during the year. Sometimes you're just able to get it just right. The temperature, the ice cube to water it so that it only gets a little bit of water at the root. And then every day you can watch, if you're very lucky, the transitions of that orchid blooming. You are blooming too. Sometimes it doesn't look like it. You may be in a dormant stage for quite a while, and then the bloom starts to open as a fragile bloom reveals itself and lasts for weeks and weeks. We are going to last for weeks and weeks together. We are going to be here with you during these live streams and these YouTube sermons for weeks and weeks until whatever it takes to get back to our meeting house. There is so much to look forward to. We have many, many services. We have Earth Day and Easter coming up. We have May Days coming up. We have Mother's Day. We have many, many days. I would like to invite all of you to join us in our live meeting house as soon as possible. In the meantime, remember, wherever you are, decide which seeds you are planting with your conversations and with your joy and with your openness to interpret this in a way that does not mar your soul permanently, but calls you to the challenge of creativity and love. Remember Carolyn McDade's words, "We'll weave a love that opens our eyes to see one another beyond all disguise, where trust like water will wash away lies. Together, not alone, but together, my friend, we'll weave on. We'll weave a love that holds the despised, the stranger who wanders, the focus of lies. We'll stand sure as mountains with earth's victimized. Together, my friends, we'll weave on." And Michael has a closing wish for all of us today.
If I could give you three things, I would give you these: song and laughter and a wooden home on the shining seas. When you see old Idaho rising in the dawn, you'll play in the yellow fields the sails are saying in the wind's dark song. Give sadness to the wind, glory and gone. When you see old Isle of Hope rising in the dawn, you will play in yellow fields in the morning sun. If I could give you three things, I would give you these: song and laughter and a wooden home on the shining seas. When you see old Isle of Hope rising in the dawn, you will play in yellow fields in the morning sun.
Our closing words are from Georgia O'Keeffe. For all of you creative people out there, you remember her artwork, always of nature and always of beauty. Still, in a way, nobody sees a flower really. It is so small. We haven't time. And to see takes time. Like to have a friend takes time. Now we have the time. Bloom where you are planted and make another new or deeper friendship out of this time. So be it.